So this particular circle, circle 9, is the compound fraud. So this is labeled as the treacherous. And the first division is called Kayana. So this is treachery against kin. Next one is Antinora, treachery against country. And Poltima, treachery against guests. And then finally, Judeca is treachery against lords, and the ultimate lord being God. And this is where Satan resides. So the next slides will take us through each one of these subcircles again. Okay, so circle 9, the first realm is called Kayana, after the biblical Cain. So if you recall, in the Bible, Cain not only committed the first murder, but it was the murder of his brother Abel. So this place is reserved for traitors of blood relatives. And Dante and Virgil here, they have to travel across a frozen lake. And if you can see, each sinner is trapped beneath the surface with only kind of their eyes showing. And we'll discuss a little bit about this particular contrapasso. So again, these are people who betrayed their family members. And not only are they trapped in there so they can't hurt anyone, but they envision the crime that they committed over and over and over. So again, this is a psychological aspect of hell, that it's not only a physical punishment, but a lot of times the mental aspect is worse. So they cry tears for those that they have betrayed, because that scene plays over and over. And as they cry, the tears freeze and cut their face. So a little bit of physical punishment as well. Right, the next layer is Antinora, same type of punishment here. It's named after Antenor, who was one of the commanders who betrayed the Trojan army. So Dante here and Virgil are getting closer and closer to the layers, to the layer of Satan. All right, this next one is Poltima, after Ptolemy, the governor of Jericho. If you recall from the Bible, he murdered all of his guests. What he did was invite all the neighboring kings to a party. He poisoned their wine, and as everybody toasted to peace, he didn't drink, and they all died. So it's betraying your guests. And here is a famous picture that's depicted in by other artists as well. So it's Count Ugliano getting his brains and ears chewed by another sinner. So here, some people are able to emerge and commit violence against anybody that is near to them. Hence, the contrapasso of being violent to your guests. Also, as I mentioned, their tears freeze instantly and pierce their eyes and their cheeks, and they feel that cutting. And there's one last clip to describe Satan.
Before Dante can find the righteous path, he must first face absolute evil, Satan himself. Dante's Inferno is a guidebook for life. No other literary work has better defined the nature of sin. Dante and Virgil make their final descent to the ninth and last circle of hell, the icy abyss of Satan.
Hell is an absence. As light is present and dark is an absence of light energy, and cold is an absence of heat energy, sin is an absence of soul, of moral energy. Therefore, at the very pit and the center of hell is a profound absence of heat or warmth. It is profoundly dead, therefore frozen. It's the ultimate negative.
We sometimes use expressions like hotter than the hinges of hell, and we might expect that at the bottom of hell we have heat and fire, but it's exactly the opposite. We have ice, we have cold, because we're farthest away from God, and God is on fire with love. Therefore, ice and cold really represent hate, while in a lot of traditional Christian symbolism, fire represents love.
The center of hell is not just that you don't love someone, but that you betray someone you love. You deliberately pervert your intimate relationship with this person and reverse it.
Dante has freed himself of the sins of weakness, malice, and fraud. Now he is prepared to face absolute evil. Dis, or Satan, as he's more commonly called, is frozen at his waist in the ice of hell.
Look, here is Dis, he said, and here is the place where you must arm yourself with the quality of fortitude. How chilled and faint I was on hearing that. You must not ask me, reader. I do not write it. Words would not suffice.
Satan is not only pictured as the fallen angel. Dante envisions him as a three-headed figure overcome with sorrow, mourning, and weeping in a vale of tears. His wings beat incessantly, freezing everything in its place.
What we see is this great parody of the Trinity. If God is power, wisdom, and love, Satan is impotence, ignorance, and hate. And just as we see that parody of the Trinity with the three heads, we also see there are three sinners. The greatest betrayer of the Roman Empire, Brutus and Cassius, and the greatest and most direct betrayer of God, that is to say, the betrayer of God incarnate, Jesus, and of course that would be Judas.
Dante uses that theme again of betrayal and of pride in his Inferno to show that God doesn't force people to sin. The devil doesn't force people to sin. But people make the choice to sin, and really ultimately every sin is an act of pride.
That brings us to Judeca, which the video mentioned is named after Judas. So this is the lair of Lucifer, and this is the place where all the traitors to their lords reside. And as was mentioned in the video, it's another place the Trinity, or the inversion of the Trinity, pops up, because Satan is described as having three heads or three faces, and he has three sets of wings. And in each one of those faces, three of the greatest sinners in history are being chewed on for eternity. And so on the two side faces, the video mentioned there's Brutus and Cassius. If you've heard Et tu Brute from it's been made popular by Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, but those two betrayed the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar. And finally, Judas Iscariot is being chewed in the middle mouth, and he has to endure that pain for eternity. As the video mentioned, hell is frozen, and it's all entirely ice, which is in contrast to kind of our modern day vision of hellfire and brimstone. And the reason why it's cold is that Satan beats these three wings and he tries to escape, and in doing so he actually causes these freezing winds to blow, and he traps himself, and that's what traps the other sinners there. So it's the idea again that you determine your own punishment based on the decisions you make. That's the contrapasso here. So there's only one way for Dante and Virgil to go now that they've reached the core of the earth. So they have to try and escape. And how they escape is that Dante and Virgil, they go up close to Lucifer, and there's a small exit on the back of Satan. And Dante and Virgil decide to climb down. So they start feet first, like you're going down a ladder. So they descend down his furry back. And once they reach the midway point of the earth, gravity changes. So they flip around, if you can imagine turning upside down on a ladder, and then they climb up to the other side of the world. And finally, they emerge on the other side where the morning star is shining brightly. And so Virgil points to Dante and he tells him this is where ultimately we need to be. And in the background, we see the 7 terraces of purgatory, and Virgil tells him we're almost there, we're done with the first part of our journey, Now I must show you purgatory, where people can cleanse themselves of sin. So that concludes our journey through Inferno, part 1 of the Divine Comedy.